Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure, all Bookmap Ltd materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Jug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter. My name there is @DougPless. Before I go any further, I do want to announce a couple of competitions. Bookmap has started today. First of all, the Blue Jacket competition, again starting today. You can scan this QR code for more information or just go to the link shown on the screen here, bookmap.com/bluejacket. So that's the first competition beginning today. And then the next competition is this crypto competition, also beginning today. You can scan the QR code or go to the link shown on the screen here. Here are the key tenets to my approach to trade, and this is the basis of my approach to trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures. And certainly in the large cap tech stocks like the Magnificent Seven stocks that I follow and trade, as well as the equity index futures like the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index. SPY is the ETF version of that index, and the ES futures contract is a derivative of SPX. And for the NASDAQ 100, NDX is the underlying index. QQQ is the much more liquid ETF version of that index, and the futures contract, NQ, is a derivative of NDX. The focus of my presentation today, and the focus of the Options-Jug chat channel, is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as the directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis, and for setups. And when I talk about setups today, I will be focusing on an underlying asset, and setups in that asset can be taken with futures, shares of stock, or options, and that is your choice, up to your account on what we're looking at, what the underlying asset. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Jug chat channel in Discord as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer your questions. And hello, Stephen. Welcome. Glad you're here. Thank you very much for posting the competition links in Discord. Again, and YouTube. Thank you very much, Stephen. And hello, welcome everyone else. Glad you're here as well. All right, here's my agenda for today, Monday, June 10th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, and events coming up for the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today. And then I'll take a look at the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know and I'll be glad to do that. All right, first of all, let's get to news items, economic data, and events. There was nothing today for the broad market. There were definitely some stocks in the news that we'll talk about when I get to setups. All right, so let's take a look at the upcoming news items, data for the week. Not many items, but they are all very important. This is the events calendar for the week. This is the Spotgamma dashboard homepage. All right, so first of all, not shown on this, today, Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference begins today. And I think it's been pretty widely broadcast in the news that investors, traders are looking for information about Apple's plan and plans for AI. All right, Wednesday, CPI data comes out 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then at 2 p.m., the FOMC meeting concludes. The announcement comes out at 2 p.m. That will be in the middle of my session on Wednesday. So I'll stop whatever I'm doing and we'll take a look at the market at that time. And then, so that's the announcement at 2 p.m. And then the press conference begins at 2:30 p.m. as my webinar will be wrapping up. So big day on Wednesday, CPI and FOMC announcement and press conference. And then on Thursday, PPI data comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then on Friday, Michigan consumer sentiment at 10 a.m. to wrap up the week. So just a few items, but all very large and definitely market movers. All right, so that's the news for the week. Let's move on to positional analysis now. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. This is the ES Futures and Bookmap. And before I take a closer look at this chart, I want to take a look at a higher time frame. I'm going to go to the Sorry, I was looking at something else. Go to the SPX, the underlying index. This is a one-day chart in Thinkorswim. SPX, this is a year's worth of data. Green trend line showing the rally that began October 30th last year, 5-month rally. Correction began April 1st. And then the rally resumed the Monday after the April options expiration. That was Monday, April 22nd. All right, let's pick this up now with a 1-hour chart. This is a 30-day 1-hour chart. So what this is showing is after the move up, April 22nd, consolidation, concern over interest rates, and then the rally resumed Friday before last, reaching a high of 53.75. All right, let's take a look at the levels on this chart. First of all, the dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. This is based on the options market. I just get this from an options chain. These levels remain in place for the entire week. This is based on the closing price of SPX from last Friday. The dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move, also based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from last Friday. And note I do post those levels, both the weekly expected move and the daily expected move. I post those levels in Discord every evening the day before. All right, let's zoom in on this so we can get a closer look at the levels in play. All right, the dark red lines are showing Spotgamma levels. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, 5,300. That's the put wall and the absolute gamma strike. The put wall is the strike with the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. And 5,300 is also the absolute gamma strike. That's a strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. So that's where most of the gamma-weighted open interest is concentrated. Above that is the volatility trigger at 53.45. That is Spotgamma's proprietary volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure. That tends to subdue or enhance or increase volatility. Above that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility. And then finally, the call wall is up at 5,400. That's a strike with the largest net positive gamma that can be expected to act as resistance. So if the SPX continues to move higher, that level is the next primary target for price at 5,400. So again, these are the spot gamma levels, key daily levels. They're based on gamma-weighted open interest, and they're available to Spot Gamma subscribers. They're available on a variety of trading platforms. And again, this is Thinkorswim in a 30-day, 1-hour chart. All right, shifts in levels. Both the volatility trigger and put wall shifted higher from Friday. Pretty significant shift higher in the put wall from 5,100 up to 5,300. So a pretty tight range as June expiration approaches next week. Potential ceiling for price at 5,400 and potential floor at 5,300. All right, so that is a 30-day, 1-hour chart. Let's wrap up our view of SPX with a 1-minute chart. This is the 53.45 volatility trigger. Briefly acted as resistance today, then support. Now this 53.50 level, that's a large gamma 3 level, also in play. SPX broke above that level, then it acted as support, and now SPX is trading above that level again. All right, so those are the levels in play for the SPX. A grind up, positive gamma grind up today. All right, let's take a look at Bookmap. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention here. Let's go back to our chart. Low of the day today. This is the low of the day last Friday, right around 53.31. And almost to the tick, that was the low of the day today. So that was the key support level, the low of the day from last Friday for SPX. All right, now to Bookmap, there's that low of the day at SPX, 53.31. All right, let's take a look at the other levels in play for today. Primarily volatility triggers. Here's the SPX volatility trigger and the SPY volatility trigger just above that. So I have SPX levels on this chart as well as SPY levels. I have those levels in my own cloud notes. And here's the SPY 535 absolute gamma strike acting as resistance earlier today. So both SPY and SPX levels are key. So the low of the day for SPX last Friday was the low of the day today, and so far the SPY 535 absolute gamma strike acting as resistance today. And also this, here's this 5340, 5350 level, large gamma 3 level, that was noted as support in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. So later in the day, it is doing its job, acting as support. All right, so that is the S&P 500 levels in play for today. Again, I have my own cloud notes, so I can show SPY levels and SPX levels on this chart. Note there is a difference in price between ES and SPX. Today it is around 9. So I'm showing this 5350 level, SPX 5350 at ES 5359. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ. This is the NQ futures and Bookmap. And let's take a quick look at the underlying index charts. I'm going to start with QQQ. Zoom in just a bit. For QQQ, here's the volatility trigger 462. That level did move up from Friday. A lot of chop around that level. QQQ and NASDAQ, NDX, NQ all making a series of slightly higher lows before breaking above that 462 level. And then the 465 level, and there's a combo level just below that, acting as resistance earlier today. And that 465 is also the absolute gamma strike for QQQ. So for the S&P 500, so far today, the SPY 535 absolute gamma strike acting as resistance. And for QQQ, the 465 absolute gamma strike also acting as resistance. Let's take a quick look at NDX. All right, for just to wrap up QQQ, the volatility trigger and absolute gamma strike moved higher. Same with SPY, the absolute gamma strike moved higher. And the put wall moved lower. So for QQQ, volatility trigger higher, put wall lower, absolute gamma strike higher. And for NDX, the put wall moved higher above the call wall. Here's the put wall at 19,050. Also this combo 4 level, combining NDX and QQQ gamma weighted open interest into one level, also in play for today. And here's the 19,000 level that has definitely been in play for the last 3 days, with price oscillating up and down around that level. All right, let's go back to NQ here. I'll leave that. All right, so this is showing that series of slightly higher lows before breaking out above the 462 volatility trigger. There's the 19,000 level, and then that 19,077 combo 4 level, and the QQQ 465 absolute gamma strike that did act as, has acted as resistance. Now NASDAQ trying to break above that level again. All right, so I have my own cloud notes, just like ES, so I can show QQQ levels and NDX levels all in one column there. All right, so those are the levels in play for today. Based on the shifts in levels, higher for SPX and SPY, NDX, and 2 shifts higher for QQQ, 1 shift lower, altogether shifts higher. In the key daily levels, my thesis for the day was bullish. All right, let's take a look at gamma notional and wrap up the positional analysis. I'm going to go to, this is the data table at the bottom of the AM Founders Note. We'll just take a quick look at this. Gamma notional, market maker's position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. Note all these numbers are positive. For an index, that means that traders are short calls, market makers are long calls, hence the positive gamma. They have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure. And that generally lends to a more mean reverting price action day, more of a range day, rather than a strong trend day, but also in a positive gamma environment, there can certainly be a slow grind higher. Note all these numbers again positive, but did shift lower, less positive from last Friday. And last Friday they shifted lower as well. All right, so if the S&P 500 continues to move up and the NASDAQ continues to move up, these numbers will most likely shift to more positive tomorrow. All right, so overall, my thesis for the day, looking again, a bullish directional bias, looking for lower volatility today in a positive gamma environment. All right, let's move on to execution now. So this information, the gamma notional, the levels on the charts, that's all based on static data that's updated once a day. Spotgamma applies their algorithms to open interest data to come up with the levels, the gamma notional. Now let's move on to real-time data, move on to execution. As always, I'm going to start by taking a look at what options traders have been doing today. This is the hero signal in Bookmap, in Spotgamma, I'm sorry. So this is available to Spotgamma subscribers. Again, it is hero. HIRO, Hedging Impact Real-Time Options. So this is showing real-time data now, options trades and market maker hedging activity. What this chart is showing is a combined signal of SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. So this is the index version of the S&P 500 hero signal. Again, showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for this combined signal of all these index components. There are 2 lines on this chart. The white line is showing price for SPX. The purple line is showing the hero signal. And a rising hero signal indicates traders are taking positive delta positions. They're buying calls and or selling puts. And a falling hero signal indicates they are taking negative delta options positions. They are buying puts and or selling calls. All right, note there are 2 signals available for the S&P 500 now. This is the first one, the one that has been around the longest. This is the index signal, and the next is the equity signal. So what this chart is showing is options trades and market maker hedging activity for a combined signal of all the 500 stocks in the S&P 500. So equity signal and the S&P 500 signal. We'll take a look at both of these. I'm going to zoom in. And let's take a closer look at the morning. And in this case, this S&P 500 signal did provide an earlier signal for a reversal higher than the S&P equity signal. So let's take a look first at the clues in the signal. First of all, the hero signal was dropping lower for the first 10 minutes or so. This flow alert comes in right around 9:41, and that can often be a mean reverting signal, indicating the hedging flow is shifting from, in this case, from negative to positive. So a little bump in the hero signal, and then just starting around 947, 948, the hero signal starts to move higher, pretty significantly higher. All right, so that's just after 945. Let's go take a look at Bookmap now. Go back to the S&P 500. Zoom in. All right, so we know again this level. Actually, let me darken up the heat map a little bit. All right, so first of all, we know this level right here. That was the low of the day for SPX from last Friday. So price approaching that level. Volume dots in Bookmap are showing market buy minus sell. Magenta dots indicate more sellers than buyers. So there were sellers. They become exhausted right around that level. Also note the liquidity at that level. That's the heat map and Bookmap showing a history of the limit orders. In that case, those were limit buy orders. Looks like those orders were consumed. Sellers are exhausted. Aggressive buyers start to come in. That's shown by the green volume dots. And as traders started taking positive delta positions in the index components, price moved higher. All right, so options trades moving price higher. Let's go back and take a look at the hero signal. All right, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to separate out puts and calls. All right, I'm going to have to jump to avoid the auto zoom. Jump back, zoom in again. All right, so what this chart is showing is calls and puts separately. Rising orange line shows that traders are buying calls. Here's that same flow alert. So this is showing from the open, traders are buying calls. They were also buying puts. And they put buyers take their foot off the gas. So traders continue to buy calls and the put buyers stop, put line flattens out, and price moves higher. So this adds more information, more nuance to the signal. Maybe a little bit more difficult to interpret than just the total line, but it is showing exactly what was happening. Traders continue to buy calls. They stop buying puts, and the market reversed higher just after 9:45. All right, that's the S&P 500. Zoom out. Just looking at the big picture here, it looks like they have stopped buying calls right around noon, 12 p.m. All right, let's take a look at the S&P equity signal. And like I said, this signal was a little bit late. It really didn't start to turn up until maybe 9:55, something like that. So in this case, as far as this reversal signal goes, the S&P 500 signal provided a more timely signal. And here in the case of the S&P equities, call buyers have taken their foot off the gas about 45 minutes later. So right now in the S&P equities, they are selling calls and buying puts. So right now, blue line, orange line moving in the same direction, both down. All right, so that is the S&P 500. Again, the S&P 500 hero signal provided a more timely signal for the reversal higher. All right, let's go to NASDAQ now. So just like the S&P 500, there are two signals. I'm going to go back to the total signal. Should have done that already. All right, let's go back to NASDAQ. Zoom out so I can explain the differences in these two. So this is just like the S&P 500, there's an index signal showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for NDX and QQQ. It's been bullish all day up until about noon. Then there's also this MAG7 signal, which is showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for a combined signal of the stocks known as the Magnificent Seven: Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. So just like the S&P equity signal, which is really just the MAG7 plus 493, this signal got going a little bit later than the index signal. All right, let's zoom back in and go to NASDAQ and Bookmap. So it looks like this combo 4 level, and there's that's also a QQQ combo level, as well as the QQQ 465 level, acting as resistance again. Let's take a look at the move of the morning. Again, NASDAQ making a series of slightly higher lows, breaks out above 462. And this was a little bit later than the S&P 500. That's when that MAG7 signal started to move higher. All right, so that's the NASDAQ futures. NASDAQ move up to from 462 up to 465. So that's about 120 points in the NQ futures. All right, let's move on to stocks now. I'm going to start with Apple. Again, Apple Worldwide Developer Conference began at 1 p.m. Everyone looking for announcements about Apple's plans for AI. Let's see what options traders have been doing. I'm going to shift to puts and calls. Go to Apple. All right, so what this is showing today is traders have been buying puts and selling calls. That's shown by the falling orange line. Note that just after a few minutes after the open, the flow alert that comes in signals significant options activity. So you see the alert come in early, and you see the blue line and the orange line both moving down. You should be looking for a short setup. Interesting that traders really started aggressively selling calls right around 12:45 before the keynote address began at 1 p.m. today, and then a sharp drop lower just before 1:30. All right, so that's Apple. So far, a bearish day in Apple. All right, let's move on to AMD. So that I mentioned there were news items related to single stocks, and again, that's the developer conference for Apple. Also, now AMD was downgraded earlier today. Initial reaction moved lower. Recovery at the 160 put wall. We'll see that in just a moment. Up to the 165 key gamma strike. So this is the put wall. 160, 165 key gamma strike. And note net for the day, cumulative volume delta has been falling all day. You can just see all the magenta volume dots. All right, so from the reversal of the put wall up to the key gamma strike, and then it looks like maybe back down to the put wall. All right, let's take a look. Let's see what options traders have been doing in AMD. Let's zoom in on this just a bit. Here's the put wall at 160, 165 key gamma strike, and the hedge wall, 162.50 hedge wall right in between. So initially in the morning, traders are selling calls and buying puts. Blue line, orange line moving in the same direction. Very powerful directional indicator. And that turns around just around the 160 put wall. And AMD did not quite make it down to that level. Now orange line, blue line moving in the same direction. AMD back up to the key gamma strike. Call sellers come in. And net for the day, traders have been buying puts, that's shown by the negative notional value, and selling calls. And both lines turn lower right around 11:45. Right about here, both lines turn lower. All right, let's go back to AMD. Let's zoom in just a bit. What this indicator is, this is the market pulse price change indicator shown on the subchart. And the extremes are shown with bright green, dark red, and these extremes can often point to deeper pullbacks. So if you're looking for a long, for example, after this reversal of the put wall, these price change, market pulse price change indicators can often signal deeper pullbacks. Not always, but often. I haven't tested. It used to be very timely for NVIDIA. And we'll take a look and see how it's working today. All right, so that's AMD, downgrade, supported at 160 put wall, reversal higher to the key gamma strike, and then back down toward the put wall again. Let's take a look at ARM. Very bullish day here in ARM. Note 130, 134 is the key gamma strike. 140 is the call wall. Price consolidating around that level. Let's see what options traders have been doing. Let's go to ARM. And call buyers definitely driving price today. Let's zoom in just a bit. Rising orange line, traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls, and they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. So it looks like price started to move higher before the call buyers stepped in. But once the call buyers step in, this tends to create a feedback cycle. Again, traders buying calls, market makers sell the calls, price moves higher, and people are options traders and stock buyers chasing price higher up to the 140 call wall. All right, so note that traders were also selling puts, shown by the rising blue line, but call buyers definitely in charge. Take the foot off the gas around, looks like 142, so a couple points above the 140 call wall. Now price consolidating. Let's go back to Bookmap. And a lot of aggressive buyers driving price higher in ARM. You can see the rising cumulative volume delta that's shown by the dark blue line, all the magenta dots, just the opposite of AMD. A lot of aggressive buyers, a lot of green volume dots, all the way up to the 140 call wall, price trading above VWAP. Not many pullback entries on that initial move higher. Just a straight shot up. All right, the next is CrowdStrike. All right, the news for CrowdStrike is that it will be added to the S&P 500 toward the end of the month, maybe June 24th, June 26th, something like that. I think that news came out on Friday afternoon. Let's see what options traders have been doing in CrowdStrike. Let's go to Crowd. And call buyers definitely driving price in CrowdStrike. They're also selling puts, but call buyers definitely dominating. Flow alert comes in at the opening, just a few seconds after the open. Aggressive call buyers shown by the sharply rising orange line. Price breaches above the 370 call wall. That's where calls are concentrated. For a stock, Spotgamma assumes that traders are long calls, market makers are short calls. And as those calls go deeper in the money as price increases, their delta exposure becomes more negative, and they have to continue to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. So that is helping to drive price higher, as well as the call buyers. And it looks like they've slowed down a couple of times. First, just after the first 10 minutes, at around 10:30. So now the call line is pretty much flattened out. So the slope is decreasing. Let's go back to Bookmap. And you can see price made it all the way up to 385. And now consolidating around 380. And here's the 370 call wall. Pretty significant breach above that level. And that can certainly happen with aggressive buyers coming in, aggressive call buyers based on the news. All right, so that's CrowdStrike, very bullish day. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. Of course, the big news for NVIDIA is the 10-to-1 stock split. So the gamma weighted open interest levels, the Spotgamma levels, are based on options from last week. So they will update today, they should, to the new lower price levels. So right now we don't have any Spotgamma levels, but the hero signal is definitely working. Very bullish day here in NVIDIA. Rising cumulative volume delta. Let's see what options traders are doing. And you can see there is almost no magenta volume dots, almost all green volume dots. So let's go take a look and see what options traders have been doing at NVIDIA, how they're reacting to the new lower price. A little bit choppy hero signal here. Key here was this flow alert that came in just after 9:50. And traders started buying calls really just after 10:10. Price had already started to move higher. So kind of a choppy hero signal here in NVIDIA. But order flow was very, very clear. Very bullish. Green volume dots all the way up. Let's zoom in on this just a bit. For NVIDIA, this market pulse price change indicator continues to provide excellent signals for pullback entries. Marking the deeper pullbacks. All right, so that's NVIDIA, very bullish day. Again, kind of a little bit choppy hero signal. Let's go back. Let's see if the total signal provides any more clarity. Yeah, it does. I'm going to have to jump back. So in this case, the hero signal, the total signal, combining puts and calls, I think provides a little bit more clarity. Flow alert, very nice mean reverting signal. Another flow alert confirming the move higher. So after, let's check the time, right around 9, I think I had noted that, the 9:54. The hero signal starts to move higher and price moves higher. So more clarity here with the total hero signal continuing to rise until about somewhere between, let's say right around 12:45, 1 o'clock, now moving lower. All right, so that's NVIDIA. So far, bullish reaction to the 10-to-1 split. Finally, let's take a look at Tesla. And just the opposite in Tesla. Very bearish day. Another timely flow alert. Just before the reversal, shift from positive delta to negative delta. Price moves lower. Another flow alert comes in, confirming the move lower. And let's go to Bookmap, take a look at Tesla. For Tesla, a lot of magenta volume dots, falling cumulative volume delta, price breaks below VWAP, multiple tests of VWAP for shorted entries. Checks all the boxes for a short. Options traders taking negative delta positions, price trading below VWAP, falling cumulative volume delta. Oops. All right, here's that. Let me trying to Trying to get my zoom right. All right, so here's that reversal. As the hero signal came in and the hero flow alert came in, and the signal shifted from positive delta to negative delta. You can see all the, let me bump up the volume dots just a little bit. Buyers are exhausted. Aggressive sellers come in as options traders take negative delta positions and price moves lower. Let's go back to hero. So very, very clear, clean setup in Tesla today. Hero flow alert, get your attention. Just about a minute later, hero signal shifts lower, price moves lower as aggressive sellers come in, and price breaks below VWAP. And it looks like 177.50 is the hedge wall. So price breaks below the hedge wall as well. That's right here, 177.50. All right, does anyone have any stocks they want me to take a look at? Please let me know. I'll be glad to do that. We can take a quick look at GameStop. And GameStop no longer in play. Looks like it's probably heading down to previous levels. All right, let's check the S&P 500. So the S&P 500 did break above the 535 absolute gamma strike. Let's see what options traders are doing. Go to the S&P 500 signal. Pretty choppy signal. This is typical of this signal. A lot more choppy than the SP equity signal, which is still shifting. So bullish, neutral, now shifting down. Let's check NASDAQ. Mag 7 also shifting down. Bullish, neutral, now shifting down. Let's go to Bookmap, check NASDAQ. All right, in the case of NASDAQ, the previous resistance did hold. Let's cluster the levels here. NDX 19,077 combo 4 level. There's also a QQQ combo level there, and then the 465 absolute gamma strike above. All right, again, does anyone have any stocks they want me to take a look at? Let's go back to Hero. All right, McKay wants to take a look at CrowdStrike. All right, McKay, I did take a look at CrowdStrike earlier. We can check again. If you're just coming in, go back and watch the recording. I did talk about CrowdStrike. So again, CrowdStrike, it will be added to the S&P 500 in the next couple of weeks. See what options traders are doing. Actually, shift to puts and calls. I'm going to jump back, So again, the slope of the line is gradually flattening out until now traders, the call buyers have definitely taken their foot off the gas. So both the call line and the put line are pretty flat at this point. Let's go back to Bookmap. Zoom in a bit. All right, so the cumulative volume delta line continues to rise. But the primary fuel, the put buyer, the call buyers, have again taken the foot off the gas. Let's go back to Hero. Again, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know. Zoom out. Let's take a look at alerts. All right, none of these are in, I don't have any, these are my watch list, my extended watch list, but not in Bookmap. Broadcom. So call buyers have taken the foot off the gas. Price made it up almost to the 1450 call wall and now reversing lower. So pretty sharp drop lower in Broadcom, Palo Alto Networks. Oh, that's booking. I'm not sure why it went. Palo Alto Networks, pretty choppy signal. Here's one for QQQ, 143. Wait, let's check. Go back to the SB equities. So now traders continue to sell calls. Mag 7, same, selling calls and buying puts. Same with Tesla now, selling calls. NVIDIA selling calls, buying puts. S&P 500 may be finding support at this 53.50 level. That's showing iceberg buy orders there. That's the on-chart indicator. 2 executions, 288 contracts, also shown by the rising light blue line right around that 53.50 level. Let's go to NASDAQ. And Wayne says, always a great presentation and implementation of Spotgamma info. Thanks. You're very welcome. And thank you very much for your kind words. All right, so now the question is for the NASDAQ, will VWAP, the light blue line, and NQ 19,050 hold? A lot of aggressive sellers coming in now. Let's go do a final check of the Mag 7 signal. Still falling. Check the total signal, and a little bit more clarity there. It has definitely been falling since about 1 o'clock. All right, same for the SB equities. All right, my time is up. I want to thank everyone for watching. Remember, on Wednesday, CPI data comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. FOMC announcement at 2 p.m. That will be in the middle of my session. So I'll go through as much as I can up until 2 p.m. And then we'll take a look at the live market for most likely the rest of the session as the market reacts to the announcement. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye.